What's going on, guys? Keegan here from Punisher's Paintball. I'm here with Doug. We are bringing you another comparison video. Today we've got the Axe 2.0 and the recently re-released Axe Pro.
If you guys like this video, be sure to leave a comment. Make sure to subscribe to us here on YouTube. Find us on Instagram and Facebook, and we'll catch you after the intro. Keegan, a lot of people could argue that these guns are more or less the same thing.
Yeah,
there's a lot of similarities. Definitely. So obviously there's a price difference with these two. So I think we'd really just like to kind of hammer on why would you spend more for the Axe Pro. So let's start with the beginning, start with what's in front, hit the barrel systems.
Yeah, barrel system, the same Empire barrel system. Only thing that's different between the two is the porting. You got the straight porting on the Axe Pro versus the spiral porting on the Axe 2.0. Moving on from there, feed neck. Feed necks are fairly similar. The main difference on the feed neck is the fact that the Axe Pro actually has the thumb wheel that is seen on most higher end markers.
Looks a little chunkier on the bottom there too, which I don't know if that means it's going to have a longer screw to get tighter. Not sure.
Yeah,
it's a little less sleek, I guess, but the thumb wheel is a pretty nice little add-on feature.
Yeah, but other than that, feed neck is pretty much the same. It's a feed neck. Not much that you can change with one. It's put on the same way. It's taken off the same way. So
eyes and eye covers.
Eyes and eye covers.
The Axe
they're
Pro,
designed a bit different.
Yeah, they are.
But
They are. Like really, you're gonna have a smaller Allen. That's definitely a smaller Allen for the ones on the Pro. So really, they're just more flush. They're a little more, I guess, attractive and visually appealing because they're not such a glaringly huge just screw head that's just out in the middle of nowhere, but serving the same function. I believe it's probably the same eye itself.
Correct.
Right?
It is. It's the same thing. You can access your eyes and your detents from inside of them. You just screw them off and clean it all out and put it back together. So
slap her back on there.
Fairly similar so far. Getting to the back of the gun, the bolt is also exactly the same. You'll see.
There we go.
A bit of a difference in the actual bolt cap and how it's milled out, but
this is like I could probably take the bolt off of this with the spring, put it on that, and we would have no issue whatsoever. Look at that! You can mix and match.
They fit. you can put the Axe 2.0 bolt inside the Axe Pro and vice versa, but the milling on the bolt cap is slightly different. But
no major difference there.
Other than that, bolt's exactly the same.
You
can get the Exalt upgrade for it as well on both of them. The launch bolt for them.
Really, that bolt hasn't changed since the original Mini, because I was an original Mini owner. I still have it at home. It's the same thing. It works. It feels great. It's actually a pop-it gun. You could say this is a spool valve gun because it's all closed up, but it's actually a pop-it system.
Yeah, it is a pop-it system.
So that's, I think, is incredibly unique that they still are running that and people still buy it. People love these things. So
it's a great gun. It's reliable. So
yeah, you can't really mess with that. So moving on down, do you want to hit the trigger, Keegan?
Let's hit the grips.
Let's hit the grips and then all that underneath it.
Grips, I believe that the grips are actually exactly the same as well.
Yeah.
Putting them side by side here. Same grips.
Speaking, of course, for the back, the front will be very different, but we'll get to that. But yeah, the grips are this. You can probably throw them on and off. It's the same.
Yeah.
Are there color options, Keegan?
Color options, not to my knowledge. They might have them, but I'm not sure. We don't have any in the shop.
Haven't seen them come through the store, so I wouldn't bank on that.
They probably have some aftermarket ones that you could get and stuff like that.
Probably.
But same grips. So far, pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Let's go down to the ASA. There is a little bit of a change with the ASA.
Yeah. So obviously you're seeing there's a gauge on the Pro. There is not one here, which is interesting because the gauge was there on the original Mini. Got rid of it for a while. It's on the Mini GS, right?
It is on the Mini GS too. This gauge is just so you can see the pressure going into the gun.
Because this is your actual regulator here.
Correct. And so you would regulate the pressure going into your gun through this little screw there. You don't want to really mess with it at all. You can risk blowing the solenoid, which is a big thing that I like that the gauge is on it because you can tell where your pressure is at going into the gun.
You want to be right around 200, I believe.
Correct.
For these
you
guns.
Want to be right at 200. You don't want to be any over. You can go a bit lower, but you'll risk blowing the solenoid if you go over it.
Yep.
So that's really the only difference.
They have the on-off here.
Yeah, same lever. They've had this for a while on all their guns.
It's a great little feature. I mean,
it works.
It does.
It's functional. It works. There's no problems with it.
I like that it says flush along the bottom. It's not like the Bob Longs where it's just weird dial underneath the gun.
Yeah.
I don't know why they do that. But moving on then, now we're going to hit the trigger.
Trigger frame.
Okay.
Yeah, trigger frame. The trigger is the same.
It's a magnetic trigger. There's no spring in here. I actually love the way that feels to shoot. I think it's very smooth to walk the trigger. But the trigger frame, hugely different.
Yeah, that is probably the biggest difference between these two markers. The trigger frame is going to be a fairly shallow trigger frame on the Axe Pro. It's not going to be too small. You can still get your fingers in and walk the trigger, no issue. But you do have the gap between the front grip and the trigger frame, which is huge. You can get your thumb back there and you can tuck it in without hitting your thumb.
See that? That's the thing. I can still get my thumb through here and hold on to it very stable, but it definitely affects the amount of room that I have.
Yeah, and ergonomics-wise, the Axe Pro does feel better.
Yes, I would absolutely give it to the Axe Pro on how it feels to hold and shoot. It just feels like a longer, more stable gun, which for someone who maybe started younger when they were physically smaller, this is a great place to start. The Axe Pro, if you like that platform, the bolt, how it shoots, and you're used to servicing that, it's a great upgrade because it's not too far of a step ahead. It's more of a step laterally. Just really, it's the grip is the big difference in the way it feels. So obviously, this has a little bit of the actual rubber on the front of it, so you can hold onto it pretty well. That does not. Yeah. I don't think that makes or breaks the decision, though. Really?
Yeah, you can get. I believe HK actually makes one that wraps up and over the top of it, so you can get them.
Okay. Okay. So
but
then
it's an additional charge, of course.
Right. Of course. If you're talking out of the box, then some differences there. But I like the feel of the longer gun. I'm about 5'8". I think that works for me. So I do like that about the Pro. Now, a big thing that we noted in a prior discussion is that this does not have an OLED. You cannot see what you're doing with programming versus the Pro.
It does. It has the red line board. I can turn it on there. I can turn the eyes off. Maybe I hit the wrong button. It's kind of like the die ones where you gotta hold it up and stuff. Turn the eyes off, everything like that. Then you can see what's going on.
Versus for this guy, if I want to turn it on with the eyes off, I believe I still have to hold the trigger, right?
No. That's good to go into programming, so you would just turn it on normally, and then you would tap it. And now the eyes are off.
Nice.
Big change there. That's probably the second biggest noticeable change on the marker is the screen. It is really nice to have. You can see what's going on when you're programming, when you're just trying to kind of diagnose what's going on with the gun and everything like that.
Absolutely.
So
now as far as how they shoot, obviously it's the same bolt. I believe it's the same operating pressure. It's going to be the same in that way. However, I would say that if you would argue that they feel different, it's because the ergonomics are set up differently. Yeah. That's what's going to make it feel different. Even though it is the same gun, same shot, same trajectory, that's all the guns have the same trajectory. It's just that the ergonomics are so different. Yeah. That just feels like a more stable platform. Plus the milling on that I just think is a little more attractive than...
It's just so sleek and just looks really good.
Now, Keegan, what is the price difference on these bad boys?
So the price difference between these two markers for the Axe 2.0, what are you looking at, Doug?
$475.
And for the Axe Pro, you're looking at $500. So a $25 difference.
At that rate, I mean, honestly, this just comes down to preference.
Yeah.
$25 I don't think should make or break for anybody. No. If you're splitting hairs like that, you probably don't want to play paintball.
Yeah, it can be kind of an expensive sport. Personally, for me, I'm of course going to go the Axe Pro. Bit better ergonomics, feels better in the hands, as well as you get that OLED screen.
I would as well. Still absolutely nothing wrong with the Axe 2.0. Really, as I said, it comes down to personal preference. You guys are always welcome to come into the shop here at Punishers, grab both of them off the wall, feel them, test it out. We would rather you do that before you make your purchase so that you know you're getting something you like.
Yeah.
But both will be reliable. They won't just go down on you, and I think these are a great an intro to speedball kind of marker.
Yeah, these are both guns that you could play a tournament with.
You could. Was there a pro team that used the Axis? I think it was Seattle a while back.
I think it was AC.
AC.
Well, we have a poster of it in the bathroom.
Do.
Pretty sure it's AC Dallas that used these a while back. I mean, it was the only gun that they had for a while before, like the Vanquish and the 6. Mm-hmm. The Pro, once again, is a re-release.
Yes.
They were out before, and they discontinued them. However, they brought them back due to popular demand on the mid-end market.
Good on Empire for listening to their customer base.
Yeah.
But, guys, I think that's about all we had for this comparison with the Axe 2.0 and the Axe Pro. If you guys like this video, make sure to find us on social media. Make sure to let us know. Drop a comment. Subscribe here on YouTube. We will catch you in the next one.